Hello, welcome to the Ostara slash spring equinox slash fall equinox if you are in the other side of the world. Some people are joining in. This is just a fun gathering. I wanted to um I think when the seasons change or in those in-betweens, I think that having the moments of celebration and just connecting is makes it so much more rich. And I love true holidays like earth holidays that stem from the cyclical nature that we all are a part of. And I think the more that we acknowledge those things together, the better. And it feels really good, and it feels like you start to see changes, you start to see momentum, you start to see the cycles, and you see like hey, Jules. Jules is in the car driving on her way to Florida with her family. So exciting. I wish I was going to Florida, but we have like a cold, windy
Me
day.
too.
I know. I wish I was coming to see you guys. One of these days,
Too.
it'll happen.
But look at you outside in the sun.
I've been literally waiting all year to be able to do these outside because it's just been dark at like 5 o'clock, and now the sun will set probably by the time we finish this, but that's fine. We're just gonna get that last piece of sunlight. And yeah, I've been waiting for the spring. I've never wanted spring to come more than this year. I feel like this was such a dark winter. I feel that it was a positive winter overall, but just literally dark. Like the sun was literally never out, and that was kind of depressing. And so this really does feel like a true rebirthing moment. And this is the new year. This is the astrological new year. The sun has moved into Aries. It's the beginning of the whole cycle. So this is the true time to be planting your seeds, to be setting your intentions for the next year or the next 5 years or 10 years or however you want to cycle it, or even just the next month. And this is really the time to not feel like this is not the time for harvest. This is not the time for hiding away. Like this is the time to emerge. This is the time to begin something, to plant the seed, to plant the intention, to put yourself into the light. The light, the equinox is the period where the day and the night are equal. So there is like this moving point. So now every single day past the equinox, the day is going to get a little bit, it's like taking over now. That's the energy that's going to be prominent. I know for you it's the complete opposite. So, but you're still at the equinox of the fall, and so the dark is starting to take over. So for you it is going to be, you're going in the descent into the underworld, but you're also getting the harvests from all the work that you've been putting in. And it's just a really beautiful thing. And I'm very excited that this is here now. And happy Aries. I don't know if we have any Aries up in here, but we'll touch on some astrology, we'll touch on some mythology, we'll touch on some gene keys, and then we'll just open it up and share where we're all at, where we want to go, maybe write some intentions, light a candle. Um, enjoy nature, enjoy. I love that. Oh, that's cute. Oh my gosh. What a cute candle. I'm obsessed. I have a kind of a shitty candle that's so nice. Is that beeswax? I'm assuming that's pure beeswax. That's my favorite type of candle. I have like a cancer candle myself, so I'm outside, so I'm like, it's fine if I light it outside. So it kind of disperses into the air. But I don't have any nice candles right now. But okay. And then who said that they're an Aries moon? Marina, that's what you said, right? You're an Aries moon. Okay, yes. This is, do you know what the degree that your Aries is?
Let me go check. I want to say it's like 26.
Oh, okay. Okay. I was just curious if it was part of the the beginning degrees where we're at right now. But either way, I mean, this is like your emotional inner world reset. It's your,
Hmm.
your where's the moon right now? Damn, I probably should have wrote that down wherever the moon is.
It was in the seventh house, which is where my moon is.
Oh,
Let
really?
me check. I think it was it. Let me check.
Yeah, please check. I'm curious. We have so trying to think where I want to start. I guess let's start actually with some mythology around this time of year. Just a couple myths. I'm actually not going to read, well, I guess I could say a myth, but Ostara, which is like the title of this gathering, is a goddess and actually not even that old of a goddess and not even really well recorded. So there's some debate on where she truly stands in mythology. She's actually a Germanic goddess, and her name um, is actually where we get the word Easter from. So I know with Christianity, they've taken a lot of pagan things and sort of converted it in different ways to fit a religion. And either way, I do think it's still beautiful. I think the symbology of Christianity and the values of that are really beautiful and I appreciate them a lot, but it is interesting to see where things originate from. And of course, she's meant to be the goddess of spring, of renewal, of the of youth, of everything that spring represents. And I think the idea of personifying cycles, things, places, energies helps us to relate and sort of reflect deeper into ourselves these similar things. I personally, yeah, let me read what you said here. Yeah. Yeah, right. It makes so much more sense to celebrate Easter in the spring rather than the autumn. I know it's so it's like all these things because they originated in, Europe or Greece or wherever. Um like astrology is originated in it's debatable, but Babylon and whatnot. Aries seventh house, moon 19 degrees. Moon transit killing the third house during the fourth. Oh, okay. Nice. So you're gonna have your lunar return soon, soonish, as we make our way through the month. And yeah, Kevin, what's your moon and rising? We're gonna go over our some of our we'll drop our rising signs and kind of get a feel for where the Aries energy, the spring energy or fall energy is in our personal charts. Um so um that's kind of all I have for Astara, but with spring there is some common symbology that we all probably know of, like eggs. The chickens are laying their eggs again, as well as that being a symbol for fertility and things are fertile. Animals are breeding or birthing their young. Everything is waking up and flowing, and it's symbolic for what is going on outside of us, tends to follow along with what is happening inside of us as well. And there is another goddess that I wanted to share a little bit about because she actually is significant in the spring and the fall, and that's Persephone. And I really love her story, and I really love this goddess's what she represents, you can actually find her asteroid in your astrological birth chart, and it's a very it will tell you a lot about many things. I'm not going to go into it all heavily right now, but she is the goddess of the underworld and the in-between. Everything that has to do with being in between, because she descends into the underworld in the fall, and she comes back out to be with her mother Demeter in the spring, and comes with it the awakening of everything through that process. So she sort of rules over the light and the darkness and transitions in our life. And she has a very interesting story, a very interesting lore. She's very closely associated with flowers, which you can look at flowers and all plants really that need to have deep roots into the darkness, and they also are a part of the light as well. And yeah, I'm not gonna go too far into her right now, just to not like take all this time, but I actually am gonna have a workshop about Persephone in the fall. That's I think it'd be fun to really go deep into her myth and go into her astrology and how we can use her in our birth chart too. But okay, we're gonna go through a couple more things and then we'll get to like all talk together, which I think could be really fun. So astrologically, this time of year, or actually right now, we have a lot of things that are at the end of Pisces, the beginning of Aries, which is where we're at right now. You know, we're at the beginning of Aries. And if you look at the gene keys or human design, it takes a chunk of degrees and it's one theme. So we are in the 25th gene key and the 25th gate in human design, and this encompasses 28 oh God, I wrote it down. 28 degrees and 15 minutes of Pisces, so the end of Pisces, all the way to 3 degrees 52 minutes of Aries. So it's that chunk is the 25th gene key slash 25th gate in human design. And today we actually have 3 planets in that chunk. So we have Neptune, which is at the ending stages of Pisces, about to leave Pisces at the end of the month and head into Aries, where it hasn't been in over 160 years. I think it was 165 years that it hasn't been in Aries. So that's the beginning of a really powerful brand new cycle. And then, of course, we have the sun at 1 degree, and then we have Venus, who is in her retrograde period at 3 degrees, I believe it was. And she is actually tomorrow conjuncting, meeting up with the sun and having her Venus star point, which happens every 9 months. And it is a significant time for like such deep love, like uncovering our true divine feminine heart on a pure level, not just like our wants and like the surface level Venus. It's like the deep pure Venus at that point. And so that's happening tomorrow. So all of this is happening for this spring equinox, and it makes it all that much more special, since especially with Neptune's dreamy influence still in the sign of Pisces, this whole situation of this time period, it has not happened in a very long time. So, and this is really setting us off into our new year, because this is like the true new year. So, a little bit about Gene Key 25, which I think is so perfect for spring, but even for fall as well. The shadow is constriction. The gift is city, the gift is acceptance. And this city is universal love, and it's the myth of the sacred wound. This human design gate is located in the G center, and then the physical body part that this gene key is associated with is the actual heart, which makes a lot of sense. And this is in the ring of humanity, which is about the sacred wound of the heart of humanity. The reason for all of our suffering can be unlocked by these keys, all the keys that are in that ring of humanity. And all of those keys represent part of a mythic element of what it means to be a human. So they all sort of tell like a story of the human wound and how we can overcome it. So it's very like story-esque. Let me read. I think there was some comments here. That's Nathan's life's work gene key. Wow, that's amazing. That is also, I think I was looking, Jules, that's also your pearl. Your, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was your pearl. So yeah, and so also every single year at this time, this is the gene key active. Every single every single spring slash fall equinox, this is the energy that the sun is activating, at least. But we have 3 planets activating it right now. And then if you have this in your chart, it's just gives you a deeper chance to work on those themes. They're starting to really come out and play a little bit more consciously. So, and I thought it was interesting, the amino acid associated with this gene key is arginine. I think I'm saying that right. And this makes proteins used for circulation. And essentially it converts to nitric oxide, I want to say, which expands blood vessels to open wider. So it has to do with circulation, which makes sense because it's like the heart, opening. Like we don't want to constrict. Think of like if you are constricting your blood vessels, like you could have a heart attack, which is the shadow is the constriction, or a stroke or something. And so it's really interesting to kind of think about it in that physical way too. So a little bit on the shadow constriction. I want to just say with the gene keys, they're so contemplative. It's something that really you kind of can come to, you can hear the words and start to come to your own personal understandings of what that means to you and uncover these layers deeper and deeper over time. And so now every spring equinox, you can sort of know that these themes are available more to be explored, and it might, start sort of what's the word, like a tradition almost of exploring these themes deeper. But constriction is essentially a lack of love, and it is like withholding or holding on to something so tightly and you're not giving it. If you feel like, if you think of love as being like open, right, and giving, and there's that, oh my god, it's cold. Ah! There is that um yeah, just that openness, the vulnerability, the freeness that is love. Constriction is almost the shadow of love, and it is associated as well with the physical um embodiment, physical manifestation of fear. And the fear might be a fear of letting something go because we want to try to hold on to it for our dear life, or the fear of letting something in, so we're completely closed off and constricted from anything touching us. And essentially everything about this gene key is about love on a deeper level. um it's very beautiful and very feminine in that regard. um I love to bring in the dream arc animals. I think that we can, I just love it. I think it's very interesting to see how these animals, which we share our earth with, can also reflect, just like how the gods and goddesses and the myths and tales of our world can reflect to us archetypes. The animals are reflecting to us archetypes as well. And the shadow fear key animal for the 25 is the salmon. So think about a salmon for a minute. Kind of feel about salmon. And it's one of the journeyers, and it's the fear of not finding love. And the salmon goes on this quest. It goes and swims upstream. And I wrote a couple notes from the message from the dream arc of what the salmon says. And it says to take your time for sacred pause on your journey. The salmon is not opposed to resting when it needs to rest. It's not giving up, it's just resting as many times as you need to rest. It's very adamant in the dream arc. Take the rest. Do not push yourself to burnout. Though never give up on your quest to go upstream or to go towards your visions, towards your goals. Never give that up. And as this is the fear of not finding love, you find love inside of yourself first. And essentially, if you have that, then you have everything that you need, really. There is no, that fear of not finding love ceases to exist since you have already fulfilled that within your own heart. It also says constriction in the body is asking you to either rest and renew yourself or dig deeper and push onwards. So you have to have your own inner discernment of what you need and being in touch with your own body and your own self. The same, it also says effort leads to effortlessness. All is learning. And the question that it asked is, what is keeping you from a rich, deep life? So that's something to contemplate for that fear, or anytime you're feeling restriction or constriction. Okay. The gift of the 25 is the gift of acceptance. And I absolutely love this one. I feel like the whole theme of acceptance has been really, the word has just been so strong for me over this past like 6 months, really, of just everything kind of coming back to that. And I didn't really realize how important acceptance is in the process of releasing fear or of moving through fear. And it is a very key component anytime that we need to face any fear, is to have full acceptance, because it's sort of when, and it makes sense, it's like when you drop the resistance and accept, everything kind of starts to unfold before you, and you start to actually see the right next steps to take, the right direction, the right words. Everything just comes. And when you're constricted and holding back and fighting, that's when the fear is like so strong and bubbling up and like, oh my god, I can't do it. It's like you're waiting in line. I always think like you're waiting in line at the roller coaster, and it's just like insane, and it's the anticipation and the waiting and and you're not like accepting it, and that's like the worst part. And then once you accept, it's like, oh, okay, I can take on anything. I can do anything, because you're essentially always backed. You're backed by truth. You're backed by God and by love, and that trumps all. But really, yeah, acceptance is like that state in which everything becomes available to you. Everything that you need becomes accessible. You have an openness, you're in reality as well. You're not in avoidance, you're not running, you're not trying to paint certain stories of what this and this and this is. You are just purely in reality, in the moment. You're present, and you're accepting that you can take on any challenges. You can meet anything with an open heart and with truth, and overcome any fears. So the animal associated with acceptance is the lion. I thought that was actually really cool too, because there's like that saying about spring, um, or I don't know if it's about a month or if it's about spring, where it's in like a lion out like a lamb. And so even a lion is kind of associated with that sometimes. But the lion's one of the guardian animals, and it's called loving self-acceptance. And the lion was saying in the dream arc that its task of renewal, the task of renewal on the planet, was gifted to humans. And it did also say in there that humans and lions way, 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 way back used to live among each other. And they had a kinship. Like there was not this fear and like attacking. They lived amongst each other. And the lion also says that every human has the heart of a lion, and only you stand in your own way. And essentially removing blame, removing victimhood, and taking that responsibility for what you need to do in life. And the lion also was representing and showing the masculine and feminine forces in balance. So in that complete balance, which I think is perfect for either equinox, because it is the balancing of the day and the night. It's the balancing of the masculine and feminine forces, and we can always learn better how to do that within ourselves, because that's what keeps us balanced. Sometimes might go a little far one way, a little far another way. But as you know, for a female or for a woman, you might find yourself needing to pull in more of the masculine energy if you're just naturally a little bit more feminine. Or if you're a man, or if you're more masculine, you might find yourself needing to pull in more of the feminine energy. Usually we have one that is more prominent at certain times, or just in general in our life, so we have to sort of pull and make a conscious effort, or consciously have an awareness over where we need to go to sort of come back into alignment and back into a balanced energy where we can navigate both of them. And then the lion also said to accept your wounds, heal, and move on. Okay, so that's what the lion said. And then this is the last one, and we're going to open it up. And what time is it? Okay, I can't see the clock on my thing, but I'm assuming that it's fine. So this city is universal love, and I'm not going to go that much into the city. I think it kind of speaks for itself. The city frequency is always the highest, purest, like it's the frequency that, as much as I know we all want to live there, we might not all live there in this human body in the here and now, unless we're like Buddha or Jesus, or maybe it's possible, but it's something to strive for. It's an example of what's possible and where I think humanity is going. But we have to move through our shadows. We have to move through our shit collectively and individually before we can live in a world where everybody is experiencing the civic state, which would be amazing. And universal love is, as it sounds, like it's a world of peace and love and acceptance, and everybody is just seen as a piece of you, and you love everything about with what is within you, and you're not shying away from any parts of you, so you're able to connect with every other person from that deep place. And yeah, it is exactly how it sounds, universal love. And I think that's very beautiful. And the animal associated with that, all of the vision keys associated with the cities are birds, and this one is the flamingo. And the flamingo is one of the changers, and it's the vision of universal love. And it's meant to guide you through great breakthroughs. The flamingo was saying in its little passage that there is, and what the 25 also talks about in the Gene Keys book, is there is a great pain within our DNA. It's like the universal wound is how we can, through the process of working through that and doing what we need to do to address that, is how we get to the universal love. And so the flamingo is saying, when you're working with the flamingo, that you're ready to transmute this and hold to and welcome the love of humanity, because it's also like the reciprocate, or the receiving as well. It's not just that, well, I'm so loving and I can give love to everybody, but it's about receiving the love as well. Like, if you can imagine what it would feel like to live on the earth and everybody is giving and receiving love in a pure way, and what that would even really feel like to be fully accepted like that in like a massive way. And I think that actually would be really interesting and very different. Maybe not, I mean, I think it'd be very different than what we could ever really understand right now. Because it would just be like so, in such a massive way, like all of humanity. I think that'd be really crazy, really cool. All right, you guys. So Oh, I guess also if you wanted to look at your human design, the 25 is in the G center, and it's called the Gate of Innocence. And it's literally about the just that innocent, pure love of life. And, that's really what it's about. And yeah, so I think I talked about everything that I wanted to. I would like to just hear from all of you guys and have us just chat, and then we can write down some intentions that we might have for the spring or for the year. Um, Let me see what the chat says. I was driving. Your sun is Cancer. Oh my gosh, my fingers are like frozen already. Um, okay. Do you guys we can go through and see if you guys know your rising sign, I can tell you what house Aries is, and that will give you an idea of at least the month of what's being activated by the sun. You guys could unmute too. Okay, your rising is Gemini. I knew that. Let me think. I don't have, okay, Gemini. Your 12th house is Taurus. Your 11th house, right? Aries, Taurus, Gemini. 11, 12, 1. Yeah. So 11th house. So it's all about, and we probably talked about this nearly in return, all about community and gathering. It's all about connections, humanity, your dreams, your hopes and your wishes, because we can't do it by ourselves. We got to do it together. And that's how we really accomplish big things. So this whole month and every single month of, well, I guess not month, but like end of March slash April time has that beautiful solar focus and creative energy, creative focus into your communities and groups. So it's perfect because you're here and and it's perfect. Okay. Who else put stuff in here? Libra rising. Oh, microphone. Okay, sorry, I like pushed a button in here. Oh my God, it's kind of hard to do this on my phone. So Libra rising. So you were saying this already, your seventh house. Yes. So this is all about partnerships, relationships, relating to other people and the public also, and the reflection that you see of yourself in everything and everybody else. So this time period is always going to be highly reflective for you. You actually gain more insight because you're starting to see more through others. And a perfect time to connect with people one on one or connect deeper with your relationships in all ways, any relationship, and even partnerships, business partnerships. It would be a good time to connect with people on different ventures that you might have as well. So love it. And I don't know who else is here.
My rising is Taurus.
Perfect. Okay. Your rising is Taurus, so you are Aries 12th house. So this time period is going to be a spiritual time, like a time to connect to things that are not very obvious, that might feel hidden. You might want to go inward. You might be feeling more like you want to retreat into yourself. I would say pay attention or even make an intention for information through dreams or through sleep or meditation or something that's working with the subconscious, because that's what the 12th house is very closely tied to. This is also a good time to connect with loved ones or ancestors that have passed over, um, and just things that are more personal, things that are more within. There's just more of like a hermited, cocooned type time period with the 12th house. So your spring might feel like it starts more when Taurus season comes, when you'll feel more emerged and more fresh. And I also wanted to say too, like I know this spring might not feel super like yeah, everything's going really fast and really, because we've taken a little bit of a halt. We have Mercury retrograde, we have Venus retrograde, we're in between two eclipses, and it might feel like, why is this not going? Like I want it to go. I want the answers. I want to know what's going on. That's how I've been feeling. I've been losing my mind. Yeah. I'm like, I just need to effing know like what I'm doing, like what's happening, because I just need to. I need to know, and it's not
Oh
happening.
yeah. It's like clear and it's like, nope, not anymore.
I know, it's so irritating. So yeah, it's not us. It's it's the time. It's the time. We got to just wait a little bit and take it slow. This is a slow start to spring, but it will open up again and it'll be great.
You know what's interesting, Nicole, on that route, like something really random? Even the financial market is mimicking it right now. Like with crypto and stocks, it's like everyone's like, oh, it's gonna go good. And then it's like, nope. And it's going against pattern compared to other years.
Really? That's so
Yeah.
weird.
People are like, what's going on? Because it doesn't make mathematical sense. Yeah.
Can you imagine like when stock things start, like when the people like you or anyone that's like working the currency, it sees the trends astrologically and energetically, like you're gonna be able to play it so much better. That'd be freaking awesome. Oh my God. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
A bit more time.
Yeah. It makes sense though. It's like things are kind of unusual right now in a way, energetically.
Yeah. But it gives hope that there's something right. It's going to like trusting that process that it's gonna merge, just like you're saying that life will merge. Um, helps to keep the sanity.
Yeah, I think it will. It has to. So we have to hang on to that fact that the light always does return. The answers always come. Clarity does eventually land, and we are able to navigate. And yeah, I hate the in between. That's like always been so hard for me. But so just all the time, you're just like, yeah, learn acceptance. 25th gene key. Accept the in between and enjoy it and just be a little bit lost, but not lost, but be not there's not the path has not been laid. Like just lay in the field and the path will eventually manifest where to go and what to do. Okay, Kevin, I know you're on here. I don't know if you know your rising sign. I know you said your sun is Cancer, but that's not going to tell us what your rising is. So I don't know if you are there. If you are, whatever, say hey. And if you don't know your rising, that's okay too. It's not that big of a deal. Okay.
I
Oh,
don't know, and I'm driving right now. I'm
oh
almost
my God.
home. There was some traffic, and so I'll be
No
home in a
worries.
little bit. But I'm not sure what it is.
Don't even worry about it. You can always look it up later and I can just tell you, like you can message me and I'll tell you what the month will be relating to in your personal life in your chart. But have fun driving. Um Does anybody want to share anything else or say anything before we go and just write down some intentions?
I don't know if you can actually see my jumpsuit, but it is an astrology jumpsuit that I didn't even think about what I was wearing when I got dressed this morning. So, I mean, it is this morning for me.
Right, right. That's cute. I do see it. I think I see the Pisces, and I think, oh, I see
There's,
the
there's,
crab. That's so
no,
cute.
there's a jug, there's the
Wow.
moon.
That's a really cute. That's a really cute. That's perfect. Oh, I love it. My candle went out, so I gotta relight my candle, but okay, you guys, let's take about, shoot, I don't know. I don't have a clock. I was gonna say like 5 minutes. Just we'll take like 5-ish minutes. We'll feel it out and write out some things. You don't have to share them, so just whatever's on your heart, to whatever seeds that you want to plant as of right now. And that's always changeable. Nothing's permanent. But when we claim it, it actually sets it into motion, and it can make more possible the more we claim our heart's desires and our intentions of the direction we want to go in life.
So recently I found out, because when people want to write intentions, they often say words that are a little bit washy
Yeah.
sometimes, but to actually write I intend is very potent.
Oh my God, I love that. That's great advice. I'm gonna do that. I intend and XYZ. Okay, guys, I'm gonna try to relight my candle. I'm gonna mute myself actually, and then we'll come back. I'm not sure if that's been 5 minutes, but if you're still writing, that's okay as well. Uh, if anybody wants to share anything they wrote, feel free. If not, that's cool too.
I have like a list of the letter S.
Uh,
So oh, can you hear me?
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Like rewriting patterns for simplicity, structure, stick with it, success, and soulless.
What was the last one?
Soulless,
Soulless. Ooh,
like it gets to be peaceful.
yes. I really love that one. I'll share some of mine actually too. I intend to reconnect back with the earth wherever I am. I feel like I've not been outside very much all winter. And it's a whole different world being out in nature. Um, I intend to achieve success in my work, to remain present in my life, to get a deeper connection with my body, to use my phone less. So I want to make more money with my work, use my phone less, and make that happen. So that's a big one. And to get the girls out on slash in the earth more. Hey, Michelle.
Hi, I'm driving just to let you guys know. But I'm here
That's
to support.
okay. Hi. We were just writing intentions. We're actually kind of finishing up, but I would if you're driving, you don't have to don't crash, don't, be distracted. But this is also recorded, so I will have the recording up soon. And yeah, we're just sharing intentions for spring, for this time of year, for the year, or however long. So if anybody wants to share anything else, any intentions or any like celebratory or I feel so just it's so nice to be outside right now, even though it's really freaking cold. It actually reminds me of when I was like, I don't know, maybe like 18, 19, like before you have real responsibilities, and you're just outside and even younger, like I feel like my whole childhood outside was my imagination's playground and everything was mystical and interesting and you're just creating these worlds and in communing with the creatures that are like not really visible. Everything's alive and life just speaks to you. I feel like as a child and you have no responsibilities and you're outside and it's like that is life. That's what life is. You're just outside. That's your life. And I want that energy way more, way freaking more. And nothing else is really that important. We bring like we are a part of everything. We're a part of life in such a massive way that we get so confused. At least, a lot of people get confused on what is really going to nourish them, like what is really going to feed them and really going to bring that connection. We're all desiring this connection. We think like, if I'm on my phone more. I know I'm really bad at this because I do everything online. Like I like there's no people here. Everything's online, and I'm like, I want to connect with people. I gotta go online. I gotta be on my phone, and then I'm so depleted because it's like not, and I'm distracted, and I'm looking at all these things like, and they're cool and they're beautiful, and everyone's creating, and I'm obsessed. I love it, but then I'm like, what the f is my life like? Where's the life part? Because this is not alive, sadly, and I would love more people around me physically, but if I can't have that, at least I have the nature that's here. And I might not be like, well, I want to live in the perfect place where it's like every box is checked, but it's like when you're out here and you're like, these trees are so perfect, like this is the perfect place because it's just the earth and it's so awesome. Everything's connected. Like we are connected, we're all connected right now, not just on this phone, but like on this earth. It's crazy. And it's literally talking to each other. We could be talking to a tree outside, all of us. Like we could all literally go out to a random tree and those trees could be talking to each other across the earth about us talking to the tree. Like there's so much going on that we're a part of, and just making that more of a conscious thing of like appreciating it. And you know, I think that's really where the magic happens. Like that's the sweet spot right there. So that's what I want to bring in.
What's the weather like over there right now?
Oh my God. It's like in the 40s. It was really warm. It was like in the 70s and super sunny, but it's kind of dipped down a little bit. So it's kind of like it might be like 40 degrees out right now.
And the hottest it's been like the past couple weeks has been like 70?
It was up to like 77 the one day.
What about your girls? Could they handle like the temperature outside?
They feel no cold. Like they do not care. They want to go in the river where it's freezing cold. And I'm like, why? Why are you like, I mean, it's cool, like good for you. I'm like, feel it with your hand before you like take off all your shoes and just like jump in there. You know, feel how cold it is. They're unfazed. They do not care. It's I think kids just have like they have that like seal fat, like that brown fat more in concentration, so they're like more protected from the cold.
They don't care as much as adults do.
Yeah. And we've always like when they were born in the winter and we were pretty extreme too, probably more extreme then than now, but we're like, oh, they don't wear socks. Like we don't do socks because we want their body to learn how to adapt to the environment and like your feet are actually meant to be like really resilient and like able to be in touch with the different temperatures and stuff. And people would just lose their minds, you know. You take your kid out without socks. It's like the end of the world. It's like they're fine. They're warm. It's okay. But yeah, maybe it did something good, hopefully.
I think so. I'll share my affirmations real fast. I put my body supports my spirit with so much strength. I pay my bills with pleasure and gratitude. I embody my higher self every day, and I'm attracting abundance doing what I love.
That's amazing. I love all that. I love that so much. There was a couple chats here. Kevin said the trees are gossiping about us. I think that's probably accurate. They probably are. Have you ever read there's a book called The Secret Life of Plants? Have any of you guys read that book?
No.
Oh, I know I have the Secret Life of Trees. I think that's that's the one I have, but I haven't finished it.
It's so effing good, dude. Like it's
I gotta get it. I got the wrong one.
it's do you know the
Oh,
guy
good.
you know the guy who made the Vogel crystals? Have you seen those? It's like a type of cut of quartz that's in like it's hard to describe. You have to look up. Vogel is I think his last name.
Vogel.
I haven't read it, but there's also a secret life of fungi as well.
A book.
And that's
Good.
really interesting too, because it's another thing that has more of a, you know, like a symbiotic kind of nature like humans do. I mean, trees do as well, because, you know, the whole root system and things like that. But that would be a great one to read. And I think there's also, I think they've both been made into film.
Really?
So I think I may be wrong, but I do think that there is a thing.
Though I feel like fungi is so also like so extraterrestrial, like because it's
Oh,
like out in space. It's like what the heck? That's so crazy. In The Secret Life of Plants, he does like all these experiments with plants in their communication, and they will literally know when he's I forget how they measured it, but they were like measuring the plants like literally like knowing when he's flying in to come back home to the plant, like knowing like where the person is in the world, like just weird stuff like that where it's like so beyond what we think, where it's like, yeah, this tree, I've seen it like maybe when I'm in front of it it knows I'm there, but like no, it knows where you are, like it could like I don't know, like the trees talk to each other, like it tracks you. Like you could build a relationship with plants, like a real one, and I think that's freaking cool. And I don't know, man, it's a crazy world out here.
And we wonder why. No,
Go ahead.
I was like, we wonder why it's hard to focus, but there's so much cool things.
there's some kind of a meter thing. I'm not sure exactly what it's called, that you can put it near any type of living plant or fungi, and you can actually communicate with it through this machine.
I've seen that.
I think that's what they were using. They were using some type of like machine frequency thing, and like
But you can buy,
buy
so
them.
anyone can buy them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
I wonder how expensive they are. That'd be really cool to have. I wonder how portable it is.
Really, they're very portable, and I think they're really reasonable. Like it's just a handheld device. It's, you know, probably the size of a phone. So, because I've seen them. So the festival that I frequent, they did a workshop where a woman came in and she brought this machine and took people around, and they all communicated with the living world that was around them at that moment. I don't know. Because I tend to miss all the workshops because I host workshops or do stalls. So I tend to miss everything that's going on that's cool like that.
No, that sounds really interesting though. Yeah. Now I kind of want to like, I don't know. I don't have the book anymore, but reread it for sure. I would definitely reread it, and I would definitely look into that machine because that sounds really cool to have. Just a portable plant communication machine.
But a book that I was talking about with Nathan this morning that I'd love to read again, I don't know if anyone's ever read it before. So it's written by an anthropologist, and it's called The Children of Sanchez, and it's based on a family that live in Mexico City in the 60s. And it's their different story. So it's 4 children. So the father writes the prologue and the epilogue, and then there's 4 parts to the story, and the 4 children tell their story of 4 different times of life. So that was, I mean, I know it's not exactly related, but you know, humans and anthropology and, you know, everything's kind of interconnected, isn't it? So that's when I really want to read again.
That sounds really interesting as well.
What's the book called?
The Children of Sanchez by Oscar Lewis.
I'll look it up.
Yeah,
it was fun just seeing, you know, everyone was kind of brought up in the same life. I mean, I know there's slight differences, like children can be treated differently, obviously, like in my family. So everyone has that different idea of what life was like in that family because of how they were treated and the different pathways they take.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a one.
think that is really interesting, and it's really interesting to think about if you have siblings, like, we all kinda lived different lives in childhood. It's like you all have your such different ways of perceiving the same childhood, but it's, like, not really the same at all, and that's very interesting concept.
True. Yeah, my brother's like completely opposite of me. Like he has a book that is called Don't Trust Your Intuition. I was like, oh my God.
Oh my god. It's bold.
Yeah. I saw that you posted something on your story about fairies. I've never had any experiences with anything like that, but I was wondering, like, do you have any stories about communicating with like anything like that?
Yeah, I do. Feel like most of my stories do involve some plant substances. I do hope to expand my my connection soberly, but those things, they open you up. They kind of like bring everything in, and it is what it is. But I've had an experience before where I had taken mushrooms like the night before, and then this was like the morning, like the sun's coming up, and I was like laying in my dad's backyard, and just like the most beautiful backyard with like a lake and like a willow tree, and just like it's very mystical. And I could see in the grass these little like orbs that were just like jumping around through the grass, like playing with each other. And like I wasn't like full on tripping at this point because this is like already like 12 hours plus later, and they were just like playing in there. And to me, that felt very like fae like energy, just kind of like little orbs, like maybe like this big, like they were like kind of shadowy almost, but it was really interesting. And I've felt I think for me, I feel the presence of that fairy like energy a lot, but I haven't had many like we had an interaction. I talked to them and they talked to me. It's just been like you can kind of sense that mystical, like electric, like there's some other being present in that natural place. Okay, go ahead. I know you're gonna say something.
Me.
Yeah.
I have had audible experiences with fairies.
Okay,
So
please share.
it has been, it has been quite a long time. And, I've seen and felt the presence of them in, recent years. But when I was younger, I had multiple experiences that were audible where they were trying to pull me into their world.
Wow.
So I don't know, I've had lots of that kind of experience with supernatural things where it has been more audible than visual experiences, though I have seen lots of different things though too. But around that time as well, because I was in my early 20s and I was living in a share house with other girls, and we did have lots of ghostly action that occurred in that house. It was quite strange. Like one day, my brother and I were sitting at the house and we were both complaining about being cold, and the fire just instantly lit, and it hadn't
That's
been going.
crazy.
It hadn't been going days and days and days, but there was lots of pine forests around there, and I used to walk through the forests a lot and had lots and lots of fae experience.
Was that
Wow.
like, were you using like substances or any like drugs for that or
Not really, but I did smoke a little bit back then. So I was smoking a bit of weed at that moment, but nothing else really. And I wasn't stoned all the time either. So, and I
did
had
you
lots of
did you
experience.
you said it was especially like auditory. Did you like happen to see anything at all like with
Yeah,
those?
no, I have. Yeah, no, I saw as well.
Cool. That's really
But
cool.
I also went to a wedding or a hand fasting when I was in at that particular time too. So I went to this insane lesbian hand fasting, and it was out in the forest. It was so weird because it was the community that was around it was like really conservative, like truck drivers and just really strange community where this hand fasting was. And there were only 2 men that attended. And during the actual hand fasting, they had a ring of candles around where everybody was standing. And one of the men was wearing he had a caftan on, and he actually caught on fire.
Oh my God.
Really, really weird. But my friends and I did take hallucinogens that night, and we did walk out into the forest, and we all did communicate with fae folk that night, and that was really amazing.
Did it
I
happen, or like do you have to like ask for it to happen or something?
No, that just happened that night, and I believe that it was a real experience because the doors were so open. It was just, I don't know, that whole day and the hand fasting and everything that was going on. It was just like this door opened into this other realm for everybody. So it was, yeah, a really amazing experience.
because you guys all had like similar experiences as well. Like it was consecutive with each other.
Yeah, and I mean, we all lived together though too. So it was 4 of us that we all lived together, and then we were kind of separate from the other group because I think every single person at the hand fasting, except for the 4 of us, were lesbians. And I don't know, it was just a really strange experience. And we all just walked off together, and we all had this incredible experience together.
How long ago was that?
Oh, a long time ago. I'm an old lady, Nicole. It was, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago. Maybe 30 years ago. Maybe more.
Right.
Oh, it would have been about 30 years ago.
Oh my God. Do you plan on having more experiences like that?
I'm never going to take drugs again, but I plan to have experiences like that.
Yeah. I feel like I want that more in my life. Like not with drugs, but like I want to like be more with the nature spirits. I want to do like, you know how the people have like animal communication and like the fine horn garden where they communicate with the plant devas. Like I want that in my life.
So one of my really good friends, I'll just write her. So is it called? I'll just check to see what her page is. But my friend really has very deep communication with the divas. So they talk to her all the time. They guide her with lots of things. And she has an Instagram handle, or her Instagram handle is Diva. So DEEVA_art.
Art, like ART.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I'm gonna look her up.
So she makes these beautiful trees and these little tiny people, and they're really beautiful. I mean, they're just simple. The people that she makes are just, you know how you get those little wooden things, like the head with the triangular body,
Mm-hmm.
like that you see as a Steiner toy or a Montessori kind of toy. So she buys those and she makes them into these gorgeous little creatures. Anyway, have a look at her. So yeah, she talks to the divas daily, or they talk to her.
What are her tips?
I don't
Do you
know.
know?
We don't really. I should ask her and talk about that with her because she's one of my best friends. So I should know such things, shouldn't I?
You should. You should have her come and teach a workshop.
Oh,
Let's get back into connect with some nature spirits, why not?
but she's a
That'd be super
stubborn.
cool.
She's a really stubborn Taurian though, too, Nicole. She's very, very lives in a world with her thoughts, and she's not very expressive at sharing those things.
Maybe she can write like a little guide. There's a book, the woman who channeled the Devas in the Feinhorn Garden, Dorothy, she wrote an autobiography that is called The Life of an Ordinary Mystic, I want to say. It's very good. It's so impressive. She's extremely interesting and also so like she just looks at things so objectively. I feel like just kind of, I don't know. She's a very interesting lady, and it's very practical yet mystical, and she just talks about how she has gained that, or did, I mean, she's died since, but had that connection with the devas and how to do it yourself, like the meditations that she would use. And then she would start talking to like landscapes and countries and like bigger energies, like stuff like that. It's just like crazy. I really want to try. I really want to.
Memoir.
What
So,
a memoir.
yeah, Memoirs of an Ordinary Mystic.
I highly recommend it. It's a really amazing book. She's super interesting. She had a very interesting life.
So,
She married
well,
one. What?
oh, there's another book as well, and I wondered if it was written by her because there's another one, Becoming an Ordinary Mystic, but that's somebody else.
Oh, I think she did write some other books as well.
Could you share that in the group, Nicole, in the
Yeah.
Telegram?
Yeah. I'll share it in there. Yeah, it's worth it. I have the paperback, and she has meditations in there that she used, and it's very simple. She makes it sound really easy and simple, but I'm like, I don't know. It's freaking cool. Like, I want to get into that more. I want to bring that into my life. I think that's missing.
It's really
I'm
good.
sorry, I left the blender on.
Those moments in life where you have, like, you feel that complete joyfulness or that complete bliss, and they don't feel like they happen often enough. But and then you have those diva kind of experiences where the trees do whisper to you, and you can hear the flowers, and you can hear that whole orchestra of sound when you're walking through the forest. And those moments just feel so potent. And I feel like most of the time when I'm walking through the forest and having those moments where you just want to be at one and be so present and feel nature so deeply, and then Charm fucking starts talking and she doesn't stop, blah 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 blah. I'm like, just listen, just be here, stop talking. We can do that at home. I need to spend more time in nature without my children, I think.
That's so funny. I'm like, I'm my kids are still, young, but I'm always like wanting to do like this little, like, let's just spend time and like do these intricate little like rituals and crafts with the nature and the slow and the quiet. And they're just like not about it at all. I'm like, why? Why can't we do this? Live my dream. But I feel you. I'm just like, okay, well, you guys do what you want to do then. Maybe you'll come back around later and want to do it this way. Be a little quiet.
It's a challenging one because my kids don't even want to really go for walks like that anymore. So I don't know. It's something I need to conquer myself to be able to feel that freedom to go on those deep those deep forest walks alone, but I do feel fear walking alone sometimes through the bush here, because it
It's
is
probably
scary.
scary. It's probably scary there a little bit.
There are snakes around, and I think, far out, I don't want to be walking out in the bush by myself and getting bitten by a snake. It does go through my mind.
Yeah, that makes sense. But maybe just like a small way, or like a little spot where you know that it's not a lot of
Yeah.
action.
So for me, spending time in nature is just, going and sitting down somewhere beautiful and just really absorbing, all of the energies and feeling the feels.
Yeah,
But
I
I
think
remember that really full on whisper of the trees being in somewhere that you wouldn't have the expectation of that happening. So a really busy road and a line of trees that seem jaded almost. And they're telling me all these stories. And I thought, I'll keep going back, because it was a daily walk that I did. And they just didn't speak to me in the same way again. It's like,
oh my God, I would love to hear more of your insights. Like, oh, that's so cool. I think that there's just it's so magical. Like you're saying, it just adds the magic back into your life when we can just feel so like every day, gotta work, gotta do this, gotta this. It's like, but there's magic too. Oh, okay, cool. Now I'm excited to like do stuff.
but there's no rhyme or reason for those moments when they happen. And I'd like to be able to connect more deeply to that essence and how it happens and why it happens, and be able to turn that on in a way that it is a daily practice, like you were saying. So
Like refine it into a skill where
yeah,
it's like,
I have an
but
understanding. Oh, I want to have, anyway, I'm going to talk to my friend Julia and just say, hey, I want to know more now.
please share with us what
Yes,
you
please do.
uncover.
But yeah, just have a look at her Instagram, and I don't know if you'll be able to sense the magic of her by just looking at her Instagram, but she's a pretty special person. So
I'm gonna check her out. It sounds amazing. I think she sounds extremely magical and skilled.
but she just shares her general life as well, and her children, and our children have grown up together and been best friends since birth pretty much. So
That's the best. That's really beautiful to have a friend like that with your kids as well. This has been such a fun time, you guys. I could never have expected or imagined this evening conversation. It's just like lighting me up. It's delicious. Yeah, I'm so happy.
and you guys are all heading into the light, and I'm heading into the darkness. Oh.
Dun dun dun.
Wait,
The
is that because
descent.
the southern hemisphere, or where are you?
Yeah, I'm in Australia.
Australia? All right. I'm
So,
on the
yeah.
equator, so am I in between them?
I know, you're like nothing changes now. Just kidding. Everything's the same
Why I
forever.
feel this way. I'm like, I need to move out of the equator.
That makes sense.
Where are you, Marina?
I'm in Ecuador.
So the days are like really consistent, like with the night.
Oh
Like
yeah,
what time's the sunset?
like 6:30 every day. It's always the same.
That's too early. That's way too friggin' early. That's like Hawaii too. It was really because it's so close to the equator. It's like you don't get a long summer night. It's like pretty close to the same. I don't know how close to the equator it is though, but I know it's close-ish. to the equator. The seasons are nice. They give me hope for just change happening. Uh, I live for it. All right, you guys. My phone is slowly dying and the sun is disappearing, sadly. But this was so fun. Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh my God, that's beautiful. Look at that sunset. You have the most epic freaking house.
I
Like,
know. It's nice. Theory.
if anybody wants to buy a house in Ecuador, Marina is selling her house. She's also renting it out if someone wants to go and live in a freaking gorgeous, amazing beachfront, infinity pool, like life goals house. If you know anybody, hit up Marina.
Yes. Just seriously, it's ridiculous. We're just like, it's time to move on, so we're selling at an amazing price and just want to get back to being nomads. But it's amazing.
I feel it. I feel it. Jules, is that you? Did you just come back?
Yes, hey. I had some iPad struggles in here and I had to let go of the internet to share it with the kids for a minute and come back.
You just missed a whole conversation about fairies and
No.
devas. Look, this is recorded, but if do you have any stories that you want to pop in here about fairies, if you've had any experiences yourself or anything you want to share along those lines?
Yes. Where did your marker go? Here you go, Violet. Violet is literally drawing all over a board and then a little bit on her face and then a little bit on the board, a lot on the board, a little bit on the face.
Classic.
So I totally believe in fairies. First of all, I was a fairy for Halloween for like you thought I was gonna just say I was a fairy.
It just in my past life.
I Yeah, I was always a fairy on Halloween for years and years, and I just had this obsession. And I actually I feel like fairies live in the mountains. And when I was driving through my first experience of where I live here in Asheville, North Carolina, around Asheville, I was driving through and I woke up and I was like, my boyfriend in college was driving and I was like, where are we? Oh my God, this looks like a fairy town, like a little town of fairies, like little hidden like places. And I've always wanted to have a fairy garden with miniature furniture and like inviting scenery for them to come and hang out. But no, I haven't had any experiences with fairies yet, unfortunately. But I would really like to. And I do believe one of my friends that's in the community but hasn't been for a while because she's been going through it, she introduces herself literally as a member of the Fae. And she's like little with red hair, and she's like, yes, I'm of Fae descent. And so, yeah, I don't know what you think about that, but she feels like she, identifies with fairy blood.
I love that. I feel like the girls are of Fae descent. I've always felt that about them. They just have like I always think they have fairy blood and they're kind of unusual. They look really unusual too. Like they don't
Yes,
really look like me or like they look like me and Will, but they have like this tiny little like nose, like these giant ears. They just have like a really weird proportions. They're really lanky and super tall for their age and like they're just act really weird and like
I
I don't
never
know.
ever thought about that before. They completely look like little brunette Tinkerbells or something. Like, oh my gosh. I really see it. Wow. Cool.
I do think some people do probably like have that Fey blood. As much as I really want to say that I feel like I have Fey blood, I don't know if I really do, but I want to connect with them. I feel that I think Asheville is one of those hubs of Fey. And it's very, if you think about it, Asheville is very connected to Ireland, and a lot of the Irish and Scottish live in the Appalachian Mountains and came over there, and the land is kind of similar. And I feel like there's a lot of that Fey type energy, and all over everywhere. It's everywhere. It's elementals everywhere and in all of life. But yeah, that sparkly, like, I don't know, just I totally relate.
Yeah, that's 100% what I was drawn to. So, like, I had the first experience, like, I know we had a conversation real quickly about, okay, we had a a conversation about, like, finding your perfect home. And I know a lot of people go to astrologers actually for that kind of stuff. And I never felt like I belonged anywhere. Like I was always just kind of wandering around and like this foreigner, just like checking it out. And um, it was really fun when I was younger, and then it became kind of exhausting. Like, I don't have any friends like that are, in the same spot. And yeah, so my first experience with North Carolina was waking up on that road trip, and then years later when I was pregnant with Nina, I really wanted to do a baby moon, but we really didn't have the financial set up to do it. So we just were like, we're gonna go camping. So we went camping in North Carolina, and we went at this most perfect time where the dirt was sparkly, there were crystals, not rocks, and waterfalls, and then butterflies just swirling around. And I was just like, this is the most magical place. And then, no offense to anyone who's from Virginia, West Virginia, but then we moved on and we're like, okay, now we're gonna camp in West Virginia. And I almost like, it was such a brutal difference. Like we went to this campground and it was a bunch of like crackheads chugging like
Oh,
gallons of vodka, like looking really scary, like they came out of some toxic pond, and I was like, there's only a tent between me and them. This is so scary. So like I went right back to North Carolina and just, instead of making it like long term, like let's pop around and see a bunch of places, it was just like, let's just post up in North Carolina. And now I live here. And yeah, I truly feel like it's where the fairies live. That in Ireland, like that's where they live. It has to be. So one day I hope to experience a fairy, and maybe it'll be in a way that like I'm not expecting. Nina says fairies aren't real. There's been a lot of discussion, like, mommy, is this real? Is this real? And it's hard to answer all those questions. But I just kind of say, like, some people believe that they're real and other people don't. And you can make your own choice.
yeah. I think it's like, the more that you spend out in the outdoors, I feel like the more real those things become. Because it's like, why is folklore even a thing? Why are any of these like myths even a thing? Because our ancestors were outside all the time and they were interacting with the energetics and like explaining it in words and trying to
Yes.
understand it.
So what is that a real fire? Are you sitting by like a fire right now, or is it a candle? Okay. I thought I heard you talking about a candle earlier. What's the temperature there?
Bruh, it's cold. It's like, I don't even know. It's like, I don't know. My hands are numb. It's like 40, 30 something degrees maybe at this point because the sun is just went
Wow.
over the mountain. So it should
Well,
be
I'm so
setting soon.
proud of you for getting out there and doing it out there. It gives a vibe to your meetup,
Bye,
and
Marina.
like it makes me feel like I want to
Thank
be out
you.
there in the cold with
You're
you.
welcome. I want to do all my workshops outside now that the sun is going to
Me
be out,
too. Me too.
unless it's raining or like that's the only thing because it's spring, so it's really not going to be that cold again. So it's cold now because it's nighttime, but we should be having warm days. So I'm going to try to do all my things outside that I can
I
because
I hear you though. This was like, for me, it was actually a dark winter. Like you're like, not actually dark, but it was
dude,
physically dark. For me, it was a
yeah,
freaking dark winter, man. Like I went through a
you
dark night
did.
of the soul, and like we literally, I like severely injured myself by mistake, I did it to myself. And then right afterwards, as I'm like thinking I'm dying, we have to move. And then it's Thanksgiving, a holiday of feasting, and all of this right after the hurricane. And now things are on fire around the house. It's just like,
Stop.
oh my God, I'm
No.
so like, I couldn't feel more like excited about spring and the change of seasons. And you just don't get that when you live in an endless summer. Like, you just don't get that appreciation, I feel.
Oh my God, big time. Yeah, it's not the same. Like a rainy season is not the same as a winter. And it's, it gets, God, it's so hard to choose. It's hard to choose like what you want to sacrifice to live in a certain place, but it's definitely not the same kind of spring or fall.
100%. It's like you can't you can't have everything perfect. So like, what do you want to? Do you want to have the big bugs and the sharks, or do you want to have, like the crisp fall or the dark winter? Like, you got to choose.
For real, dude. It's like story of my life. Okay, guys. My phone is actually gonna die, sadly. My battery's not that good. But I'm glad I made it through
Thank
the whole thing.
you. It's meltdown season in the car, and
Oh,
you brightened our trip.
I'm so excited for your trip. And hopefully the girls take a nice, good sleep, and hopefully you have some good cartoons or something to like keep them sane, keep you all sane through this.
Yes, we just reluctantly bought a second tablet.
You do what you gotta do. Okay, no freaking shame here. A long road trip like that, you do it.
So
It's
true. All right, we love you and see you soon.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you. Bye.